Welcome to the Movie Cheer Podcast, the show for movie fans. I am your host, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer, and on today's episode of the Movie Cheer Pod, it will be the best 2002 movies special. Basically, I'm going to be looking at some of the best movies of 2002. We're going to go back in time 20 years, ladies and gents, to look at 4 movies from 2002. And gotta say, 2002, just going through the list of movies from that year, one crazy good year. Crazy, not like crazy bad, crazy good year for movies. And I'll be honest with you, it was really hard picking 4 for today's show. But I picked the best, I feel, the best of the bunch for today's show. I do feel like this is going to be a round 2 video for another Movie Cheer Pod episode in the future where it'll be round 2 of the best movies of 2002. But today I'm going to select 4 movies from 2002, 4 of my favourites, and I'm going to explain why they are my favourites later on in the show for the headline topic. But before we get to today's big headline topic, as always on the show starts off with a segment called Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping. This is the part of the show where I discuss what's going on with the channel, what's going on with the Movie Cheer Town community, and it's just a general easing in chit-chat to get us ready for the rest of the show. So, not so worthy blockbuster housekeeping for this week. What has been going on, ladies and gents? Well, first of all, I will say latest video on the channel this week. Thursdays are the days where the normal videos come out on the channel, and this Thursday's video was the return of a new episode of the World Movie League. It's a series on the channel, playlist on the channel that I've been doing now. It's like I said, episode 4 of this. There's 5 in the playlist because the initial draw, but basically in the first season of the World Movie League, I'm doing comic book movies or comic book based movies, and basically doing a bit of like a tournament style for this whole series. And I put movies against each other in battles, and they move on to the next round. And it's really fun. I wanted an ongoing series with the channel, and that's what I'm trying to do in general with a lot of the series now on the channel. More series rather than just like one-off videos as much. So the World Movie League returned this week, and it was Deadpool versus Spider-Man and The Crow versus Birds of Prey. That was really good to watch those movies and to just deep dive into them. It was really fun, like doing this show, like doing the normal show, to just discuss movies and just go and do a deeper dive into them films. It is really fun to do. So if you've not checked out that, if you've not checked out any of the other episodes, join me as I am there as Commissioner AP of the World Movie League, and Buck Sculdone is on the episode again. And there will be more coming up, more World Movie League episodes. I do try and, I've said it before, I try and get them out 1 a month, but because there's such long videos, like a 30-minute video, sometimes I like to, give my all. I don't want to just go through the motions and just throw out a video. I do want to, watch the movies and give you my honest and, give you all of my opinion in a video. I don't want to just like be like half attempt at discussing movies. I don't want to do that. It's no fun for me. I do this for the enjoyment of discussing them fully, not on an empty tank. So that is this week's video. Some really great comments on that video and views on that video so far. So it's just keep on checking out if you've not checked out already, or check out the rest of the series on the playlist on YouTube. It's awesome. What else has been going on in Movie Cheer Town? Basically, on the website, each and every week there's a new blog post going on the website moviecheerpodcast.com. This week's blog post was me discussing the Uncharted movie. Now, I did mention this movie on last week's episode, but I wanted to do a bit of a write-up as well. And I think sometimes, like with doing video content and written content, I think you can sometimes change your opinion, and you can get different things out on paper sometimes, or not on paper. Who writes on paper? I mean, well, saying that, I've got my notes here. These are on paper. But in general, I mean, maybe some people are writing on paper. I will say, I know I'm going off track here, but I am absolutely awful at writing. I think, and writing and just writing with a pen and paper, My spelling is atrocious. I'm just so used to using like keyboards, laptops, computers now, and when I get like a pen to paper, my writing is horrible, and especially as well, I'm so used to using stuff like Grammarly on the PCs. I don't know if anyone else can relate, but I really like for spelling and for punctuation and just putting stuff together. I mean, these blog posts would not be put together if it weren't for Grammarly. That's I gotta get them for a sponsor. Maybe that'd be good. Honestly, I if I was writing these out handwritten or on a typewriter, the blogs would not make sense. For one, they wouldn't be coherent. But yeah, Grammarly's a lifesaver for me. I really can't. But basically, what I'm saying, putting pen to paper, writing stuff down. Sometimes you can think of things that you maybe forgot about in a video format, and likewise, doing the videos as well. You can sometimes stuff comes out differently than the way you think of it on paper. I find anyway. That's my opinions do change, and that's why, like I've said it in like the past, I wouldn't mind doing like some of the topics I've discussed in blog posts as video formats as well, because I'm sure there'd be some sort of different opinion in there discussing about that. So that's the blog post this week, the Uncharted movie blog post discussing that. Great movie, really fun movie. If you've not checked out, have you got reservations over that? Maybe because you're maybe on the fence, like it's a video game adaptation, maybe something like that. Maybe you're not a fan of Wahlberg or Tom Holland. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I said last week it reminds me of if I didn't know anything about the game series anyway, but going into that, I would have watched the first like 20 minutes or so. If I didn't know what the movie title was or what I was watching exactly, I would have said it was a National Treasure movie or some sort of like a reboot of the National Treasure series. It had that sort of feel to it, that vibe to the movie. But I really enjoyed it. I hope they do more of those movies. And I'm interested to know how the games play out as well with them ones. Whether the games are, the plot line, is it very similar to the video games, or is it take bits? I've heard from people that it takes certain bits from like different video games in the series, so maybe it's not directly based on like the first video game, for instance. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie. You know what you're gonna get. I think everyone knew it was gonna be like a treasure hunting adventure, and that's what it was. And it wasn't pretending to be anything else. It was just fun, a fun, entertaining treasure hunt. But that's the blog post on moviecheerpodcast.com this past week. What else has been going on? Well, I gotta say, more recently over the past month or so, the channel passed 600 subscribers. So big thank you to you all in the community, to new subscribers and to all subscribers. Thank you very much for being a part of this community here. I say this every time. It's not just the channel. It's not just a website. It's a community. And the best thing for me is, interacting with people, discussing topics, diving into the comments. That is the best bit out about this. And just, meeting new people, starting friendships with people, which I've started some great friendships through doing this and through this community. And that's what it's about. And, and other movie communities like this one, other channels like this, it's about the community. And I'm really happy, 600 subs. I think it's awesome. And, it's the road to 700 subs now. I'm sure the channel will reach that point at some point, but there's no rush with these things. But I just want to say a big thank you to all of you out there for supporting the channel to grow even further. And it's awesome. Big thumbs up to you all. Big movie bud fist, ladies and gents. What else has been going on? Well, I gotta say, I've been watching John Mondo Shelvek's channel recently, and he's been discussing that he's getting like a new TV and stuff. And to be honest, over the past couple of months, I've been looking at new TVs, and I'm looking at like the QLED TVs and the OLED. My TV is years old now, and there's so many options now, and they're just getting cheaper and cheaper, these TVs. And I'm thinking what I'm seeing online, and I'm throwing this out here because I'm not an expert on TVs, on modern TVs in the slightest, and it's one where I want to kind of get some feedback from the community. I'm looking, a lot of it online is saying like QLED TVs, the QLED ones are basically the brighter, so apparently they work better in sort of rooms that have got a lot of sun coming in, so you can actually, you're not like the light is not blinding out the room. For instance, this room here is quite a light room, and if I had a TV in here, sometimes it's hard to watch the screen on my screen here where I watch movies. It's better in the dark or in the evening when it's a lot less lighter. So apparently these QLED TVs are more appropriate for the movie rooms that are in a sort of like a, this maybe like south facing, is it, to the sun, so the sun's dropping in or something like that, or I don't know what you would say, what angle where where it would come from the sun. But for your movie room, what do you have? Do you have a QLED? Do you have an OLED 4K? Do you not even have 4K? You still think like just a normal like HD TV is still the best for watching movies? What are your thoughts? I'm looking at these OLED ones now. The OLEDs you can get, I think it's an LG OLED they have in like Amazon and Argos over here, and they're basically they're under the £1,000 mark. You can get like a 55-inch for about 600 or 700, I think it is now, which seems pretty good for an OLED. And it by the sounds of like OLED is like the top top mark for TVs now, like the top standard by the looks of it. From what I'm reading, like I said, I'm not an expert, not pretending to be an expert, but it seems like the OLED models are suited more for like a darker room where it's like you're getting that more cinema feel and you're getting the colours on screen, like the blacks of like the black in colour is blacker and the whites are lighter. So it seems like you're getting more definition in the black and the white on the screen and the colours and just the colours in general on the screen for the OLED models. But let me know your thoughts. What would you say? What is? Throw some TVs out there. What TV do you have? What would be your recommendations? Give me some pros and cons, ladies and gents, for getting new TVs. I mean, is now the best time to get a new TV? I mean, do you think TVs are going to drop down in price significantly more, or is there going to be something brand new on the horizon? I know there always is something brand new, but I mean, is OLED going to be the big thing for the next couple of years? Let me know your thoughts if you've got some more knowledge on this topic than myself. I'm pretty sure you probably all have, because my knowledge of this topic of modern TVs is very low level knowledge, I'll be honest with you. But let me know all your thoughts, ladies and gents. I really do appreciate your feedback on this. Just another quick one over on the Patreon side of things. Coming up this Monday, it's another episode of Movie Curator Shelf Club Part 2 of the underrated movies and hidden gems. One came out this past Monday. Another one of those bonus Patreon editions of Movie Curator Shelf Club will be coming up this Monday as well. So that is it for Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping for this week. Let's move on to the headline topic of today's show. So today's headline topic, the best movies of 2002. We go back, like I said at the start of the show, 20 years to 2002, and I picked out 4 movies from this year. Like I said, it is a jam-packed year of great movies. There is so many great movies I kind of missed off the list, and some of my favourites I've actually missed off the list here. But I feel like I've delivered the best 4, the top 4 movies in no particular order. So let's start off with the first movie I'm going to discuss today. The first movie I'm going to discuss is Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, released in December of 2002. And this movie, the second movie in the grand Lord of the Rings trilogy, it is an absolutely fantastic movie, a fantasy epic movie. The books were released years and years before, and then the first movie, it came out and it took the world by storm. It's like this brand new big franchise, probably the biggest franchise since Star Wars, really. Maybe the Harry Potter franchise was pretty big that came out a few years before that, the first one of that one, the Philosopher's Stone. But I mean, in terms of franchise levels, I mean, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, I feel like there's not many other franchises that have really eclipsed the huge fan popularity since. I mean, you could maybe say Hunger Games is maybe tiny bit. I don't even think I like the Hunger Games movies. I don't think they've eclipsed what came with those three franchises. And Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers, for me is such a special movie. It's just this grand scale movie where you've got loads of really interesting plots going on for the characters, because it's the story of Lord of the Rings. It's tons of different characters. You've got Aragorn, you've got Frodo, um, you got Sam, you've got Gandalf, you've got Legolas. You've got all those different characters and all these different stories going on. In particular in this movie, it feels like there's loads of different like story arcs and in different locations. Like you got the two hobbits with the trees, and then you see Gandalf the White in this story debut. Aragorn, he's epic in this story. Legolas, in the Battle of Helm's Deep. The story with Frodo and Sam and with Gollum. There's loads of little story threads, and they keep on when they're going scene by scene in this movie. I'm getting tongue twisted. Then when they're going scene by scene, they're going to these different characters and these different stories within this movie. It's all really well told, and it's really exciting and engaging and entertaining. And it's just a really great fantasy movie, and just well written, basically what I'm trying to get to the bottom line of. And maybe that it just comes down to it being like a superb book. I've enjoyed reading the Lord of the Rings books. I think they're great, and this movie is fantastic. I'll be honest, I've never watched the extended editions, never seen them, and I know a lot of people kind of say they are the ultimate if you're a fan of this franchise. But yeah, I've never seen them extended editions, but I really like this movie. The Battle of Helm's Deep is a highlight for me personally. I think that battle at the end is just one of the best battles. It feels so long, and then the ending is just epic when they're all coming down the mountain and just wiping out all the orcs and stuff. And it's such a. I would have loved to have seen that being created in behind the scenes and stuff. And I have seen stuff on the DVDs of the behind the scenes stuff, but I mean to actually be on set of seeing some of that stuff being made must have been breathtaking to see as a fan of movies. As a fan of movies, I would have loved it. I would have absolutely loved to have been there. But yeah, the movie is spectacular. Great movie, and a great movie to start this 2002 topic off today. And next, I move on to another movie of 2002, another best movie of 2002. And the second movie I'm going to discuss is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And this was released in November of 2002. So this is, like the Lord of the Rings movies, another one that is a second in the franchise. I was thinking to myself, The Two Towers is the first movie in the franchise for some reason, the way I was saying it before. But The Two Towers, obviously, the second one. So I can't remember which came first, whether it was the Lord of the Rings franchise or Harry Potter. I'm sure it would have been Lord of the Rings. I think that came out in '99. I'm pretty sure the first Lord of the Rings, anyway. But anyway, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, basically the second one in the Harry Potter movie series, and I love the Harry Potter movies. I will say, I was watching Playtendo guys movie live stream on Wednesday this past week, and the guys on that, they were mentioning the Harry Potter movies, and I think it was Andy from Forgotten World of Movies mentioned the Harry Potter movies are great, but they are kind of like all mismatched in a way, because they had different directors. And it was a great observation there by Andy saying that, because it's kind of true when you think of like the Lord of the Rings movies. It was Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson was the director for the whole three movies. With this, it had Chris Columbus on the first two movies, on the first two Harry Potters. I think David Yates, he did like the last two or three, and then I think there was one or two other people in between those. But even though they do feel mismatched. If you look at the first Harry Potter movie to the last one, they do feel a bit mismatched, but I still enjoyed them. I really do still enjoy them, even though they have different tonal shifts from each movie. But this movie always strikes me as a really good one. I love this, the Chamber of Secrets is opened within Hogwarts, the School of Hogwarts, there's a secret chamber, and there's a secret monster killing people and stunning students in the school. And it's basically the creature within is like this big basilisk, it's called. It's like this big massive like snake with like a dragon like look to it. And basically, Harry within the story finds Tom Riddle's diary. Tom Riddle is AKA Voldemort, and we see this like big grand wizarding story throughout until you see the end battle of Harry taking on this big basilisk. And it's a great story, another great fun wizarding adventure. Some of the great memories for me of this movie, and I suppose great moments for me, I always think Dobby the house elf, when he's like in Privet Drive and he's trying to tell Harry not to go back to Hogwarts, and he's doing all these different tricks to try and get him to stay at home. And I really love Dobby. I thought it was ace. And but for me, it's when he's breaking out the house and Ron and I think it's his brothers are like they're in the flying car, and they put some like chains onto Harry's window, and they first open it. Harry's like, he's like, all right, Ron, and then Ron's like, all right, Harry, and it sounds at the time and even now, from if you watch the first movie to the second movie, the voice difference in Ron and in Harry, obviously they're a bit older, and you hear the deeper voices, and it always cracked me up because you see the first movie, they're all going from like these like really squeaky young voices, and then you see in the second one, it's like, "Oh, Harry, how you doing? It's me, Ron. I'm at the car. I've got the car at the window." All these deep voices developing. It always cracks me up when you hear that because it's such a shift from the voices. I don't know, maybe it doesn't make you laugh as much. I always thought it always makes me laugh at just like the difference in like that first movie to the second movie. But I love that scene when they're going with the car and obviously they get to Hogwarts, and then they realise the station is closed and they have to get in the car and fly to Hogwarts and stuff, and that's a great scene as well. But I think it's just a great overall movie. I always like just Harry Potter. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I've been to the Wizarding World here in the UK, the Harry Potter Studios it's called, and that is a great day out. If you've never been there, check it out if you're in the UK. But it's great. It's a great movie, a really great ending as well, and another one as well, like the teacher who loses his memories and he doesn't know it because he has a spell that backfires on him. And then he loses his memories, and everyone thinks he's like the baddie of the movie, but he's kind of not really. And when he loses his memories, that's quite funny. And I think they actually do reference it in a future book briefly, but they never reference it on screen in future movies about his memories. But yeah, great movie. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is my second movie today. Let's move on to the third movie of today's discussion of 2002 movies, ladies and gentlemen. So, the third movie I'm going to discuss is Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. That is right, Attack of the Clones. Love or hate the prequels. I know some people like them, some people don't. I'm kind of like on middle of the road. I don't mind them. I don't think they're perfect. I don't think they're the world's worst. I kind of like them. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I still enjoyed them. There's certainly parts of them that are better than the other. I think Revenge of the Sith is definitely a highlight of that trilogy, the prequels. But it's the same with the new ones. There's parts I like, movies I like more than the other ones, and even with the originals, the same goes. We're all always change opinions as well. My opinions definitely have changed more recently on this. I think earlier this year not earlier. I mean, like a few months back. It was when with me and Sean, Media Collector Madness, we did the Clash of the Movie Sequels episode, and I think the Attack of the Clones movie was on that episode. And I rewatched that, and I really enjoyed the rewatch. I'll be honest with you, more than I actually thought, and it was a good rewatch. And there's definitely a lot in that movie over the years that I think works better now, and especially when you look at like what they're doing with the Star Wars TV shows, and you see the influence of this movie, the Attack of the Clones, because you think without this movie, really, we don't really see the Clone Wars animated show, which has been a huge show, and I've watched a couple of seasons of that. I really like it. But would we have had a lot of the elements from that show come from this movie and the story threads from this movie, Attack of the Clones. Would we, would we now be getting this Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show? Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin Skywalker, made his debut as Anakin Skywalker slash Darth Vader in this movie. He is returning to play Darth Vader in that TV show. Obviously, he makes his debut here, and 20 years later now, we're seeing him return to that role. And it's, again, significance of this movie. And it's a decent movie. There is certain points in the movie. I think the love story between Anakin and Padme can be a bit boring at times. I think some of the moments like that are a bit boring. I'll be honest with you. The gladiator scene, the arena scene is sometimes I think the CGI is a bit off-putting, but I think a great scene in that is when you see all the Jedis come down and doing battle, and they all think they're like outnumbered, the Jedi, and then you see all the clones come and start shooting in the battleships, and that is an epic scene there. We see Jango Fett losing his head to Mace Windu here, and again, kind of like, again, and something else that has been referenced in the more recent Boba Fett TV show. They sort of like reshot that scene for one of the episodes. And it's a very significant part of the future of the Star Wars history. And I think it's a really decent movie. Apart from like some of the negatives, like I said, I think that some of the love story stuff is a bit boring. But I think seeing Hayden Christensen here, I think he's much better in Revenge of the Sith, personally. I think his portrayal of Anakin is a bit more matured and a bit more Darth Vader-ish. But you see the beginnings of Darth Vader really here. You see, when he finds out his mother has been killed here, and you see him obviously going and killing all the Sand People, and it's the start of this road to evil, really, with Darth Vader. And really, you look at this. This is really a big point in history of Star Wars movies, where you see the point of all these story threads going off and going into these future moments. And that's why I think it's such an important movie, and it's such a maybe underrated in the Star Wars franchise. Maybe some rate it really highly. I think for me, I look at this movie and I think it's kind of like maybe not appreciated as much as it should actually be, because there's so much significance to this movie. But this was released in 2002. I'm not too sure of the year, the month. I didn't write the month down. I think it might have been an early 2002 movie. This, don't quote me on that. But Attack of the Clones really is a great movie of 2002, and one I think that really highlights that 2002 is a really cracking year for movies. And now let's move on to the last movie I want to discuss today for today's headline topic. The last movie is a May 2002 release, and the movie is Spider-Man, the very first live-action Spider-Man movie starring Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, and Willem Dafoe as some of the notable names in that movie. Directed by Sam Raimi, who more recently directed Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. This first Spider-Man movie is the origin story of Peter Parker becoming Spider-Man. First of all, it was a big moment for films, because comic book movies were not really, there weren't tons of them out. We had the 90s, we had the Batman movies. Marvel really, before that we had the X-Men, but it's not like we have it like today, where we have like 2 or 3 Marvel properties coming out. It was a limited time of comic book movies, but this really did change the game. It really gave us all these characters that we've never seen on screen before, and it was exciting, and seeing some incredible visuals of Spider-Man, going around the city, shooting webs, taking on villains. It was amazing. It had a great soundtrack, a great score by Danny Elfman as well, which really adds to this film and adds another element to this movie as well. You have the great villain of Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, who is fantastic. What I will say is, if you go online, you can see it on Wikipedia. Maybe you have seen this before, but there is, obviously, in that movie, Willem Dafoe, the Green Goblin, he has like the green suit, and it's like a static mask where it opens and you can see his mouth move when he's talking. what they did actually do, they created an animatronic mask that was based more on the comic book look of the character of the Hobgoblin. It didn't get used in the final movie. I think it has been used in it might have been in the Amazing Spider-Man movie, or no, I think it was the third movie. I think it was the third movie in the Spider-Man Sam Raimi trilogy, where James Franco finds his dad's armory of Green Goblin stuff, and I'm pretty sure a version of it features in that scene where you see a few different Green Goblin masks. But check it out; it looks really cool. I do think the final design is pretty good, though. I like the final design. I like the look of the Green Goblin. I think taking the suit away, the Green Goblin wouldn't have been so iconic if it weren't for Willem Dafoe. I think he's just a great villain. His performance in that, where he goes from the voice of Norman Osborn to the voice of the Goblin, is just into this normal voice to this sinister voice where he's talking to himself, is iconic. It's superb, a great villainous performance. Tobey Maguire, sure, he didn't really look like a high school student. He looked like a 50-year-old who was attending school. He looked a lot older than his age should have been, really. That's what I'm getting to here. But he was still great as Spider-Man, as Peter Parker. Sure, he cried a bit too much throughout this trilogy, but I really enjoyed his performance. I love the wrestling. As a big wrestling fan, I love seeing the wrestling scene where you see the buzzsaw played by Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah, Macho Man in there, and I think for me, it's that first scene when he's climbing up that wall, and you hear the music, and it's like doom, 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 and you see him walking up the wall and then doing the jumps, and that is great. And when he does that first swing, and he just goes into like a big sign and stuff like that, it's humorous. There's funny moments in there. It doesn't take itself too serious, but in the moments of pure drama, the intensity goes up to 11, and they play it really well. Well done on screen by Sam Raimi. But it's a great movie, and really enjoyed watching this more recently again, and had a lot of fun with that. Like I said, it was released in May of 2002, and you look at the more recent Spider-Man movie, the impact and some of the story elements and characters featuring in that movie from this, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see the everlasting impact of such a great movie. Spider-Man gets a thumbs up from me, and I think it's a great way to end this topic off of best 2002 movies. Now let's move on with the rest of the show. It's time for the Movie Variant Showdown segment of the show. Are you ready? Movie Variant Showdown. Each and every week I choose a different representative of a movie property, whether it be a movie case cover, a movie character, a movie poster, whatever it may be, and I put it up against a variant of that representative, whether it be one or two different variants. So for instance, it could be two different posters, two different case covers. And today, this week on Movie Variant Showdown, I am looking at the Top Gun 30th anniversary UK case covers of that movie, because you've got the more recent Top Gun Maverick coming out. Going to look at the DVD, the Blu-ray, and the 4K of the original Top Gun movie, but of the 30th anniversary release that has been picking up some extra sales with the release of the new movie this past week. So first of all, let's start off with the DVD case cover first. Let's see what this looks like. So we have the two main characters here, Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis, I believe that's pronounced. And, I believe this probably would have been a poster. This one really, visually, you got the two characters really large on screen. You got the title in at the top of it. Really great use of colours as well. You got the sky, you got the airplanes, all the planes in the sky, the jets. And I like this. I think it's great. I think it looks really striking, a really striking poster, and a really good movie cover for the DVD. I really like this. I think, the highlights for me is the colour, the use of colour here. You've got the blues to the yellows. You see the main characters who are obviously the focus of the movie, and the text. The Top Gun text is awesome to look at. I love that text. It looks like something you'd see on like a motorbike. It looks really cool. I like that. So that's the DVD one. Let's now move on to the Blu-ray. So this is the UK Blu-ray of the 30th anniversary. Very similar in a way. You got the same look of the characters. They're a bit smaller on this. Now it's in the skies. You got the jet there. The text has been moved to the bottom. It's in a different colour. It's in a grey. I don't think this is as striking as the DVD. I think it doesn't stick out as much. I think it doesn't look as striking and as appealing to the first cover. I think the first cover, you look at it and the colours really pop a lot more. Whereas this, it looks a lot blander to me. I don't think it pops as much. I don't think it's as eye-catching to someone. If you were walking down an aisle in a supermarket or you're going online, I think I would look at the DVD cover and I'd be like, that's the one I want to put in my collection. But yeah, I think for me so far, the DVD is looking like the best one out of the choices here. Let's move on now to the 4K of this. Let's look at the 4K case cover for Top Gun, the 30th anniversary. So this one is very different from the first two. We've got the same style text as the DVD, in that's sort of like you've got the red and the same text font. But you got Tom Cruise. It's kind of like a snap of him outside a jet here, and it's just him alone here. You don't get it only says Tom Cruise on the 4K, which is really interesting as well. You don't get the name of Kelly McGillis in there, which is interesting. I don't know why she's not featured. She's featured on the Blu-ray and DVD, but it's just Tom Cruise. Maybe Tom Cruise was like, for the 4K release, it's like, this is my movie. I only want my name on this cover. For me though, I think it's better than the Blu-ray. I'll be honest with you, I do think it looks a bit better, but I don't think it looks. I think the text is a big point of these three options here, where the text with a bit colouring really makes it stand out a lot more. Where like the Blu-ray, it was just very plain and just the grey, but you've got the grey and the red here that makes it look a bit more significantly good to look at. But I think for me, the 4K is better than the Blu-ray. But overall, I would say, for movie variant Showdown, the Top Gun 30th anniversary physical release, I've got to say the DVD wins through. I think the DVD case cover is the best. I think it looks awesome. I think it really pops. It's a great use of colour, great use of the characters on the picture. You see the jets there. You know what this movie is about by looking at it, I feel. And I think it is worthy of winning movie variant Showdown this week. So let's move on now with the rest of the show. And the next part of the show is movies for the weekend. Each and every week, I give you some movie recommendations for you to watch at home this weekend. And as always, I've got two recommendations here. Now, I was mentioning this reference to show earlier on in the show where Pete, Playtendo guy. Pete is an awesome guy, by the way. Check out his channel if you've not checked it out before. Awesome channel discussing movies, video games. He has regular live streams on his channel, Pete, and I've been on the live stream once or twice. Really friendly guy, friendly bunch of people on there as well. Really welcoming, and just a really good 10 out of 10 movie live stream. If you like movie discussions, check it out. Playtendo guy. But basically, Pete and the rest of the guests on that show this past week, they mentioned, I think it was a question that came into the show where they mentioned License to Kill, the Timothy Dalton James Bond movie. And it is one I've watched years ago, but I've never... I didn't really think much of it at the time when I watched it. So, I'm going to be watching this weekend, License to Kill, and I'm going to give it another opportunity because apparently they were discussing it and they were saying, it's a really underrated movie, and I think it was like a movie before came too early. It was very much inspired what we're seeing now with the James Bond character. So License to Kill is one I'm certainly going to be watching this weekend, and it's going to be a recommendation for me on movies for the weekend this weekend. License to Kill is the second Timothy Dalton movie, the last Timothy Dalton movie as well. I'm going to check this out. I hope you maybe join me and check it out as well for the first time in a while, or maybe you've never seen it before. License to Kill, the first choice for movies for the weekend today. On the topic now again of 2002 movies, I've got another 2002 movie release here. And that movie is 28 Days Later. A great zombie movie. If you're into zombie movies, 28 Days Later is a really decent movie. And another one I could have easily featured on today's headline topic list today. They are my movies for the weekend choices for today's show. Let's move on to the next segment of the show. The Amazon Top 10 is approaching. Prepare yourself. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Amazon Top 10 has arrived. The Amazon Top 10. Every week I look at the Amazon Top 10 of physical media sales, 4K, Blu-ray, DVDs, the top 10 of Amazon UK sales of movies on the best sales list. Let's have a look at what's on that list of top 10 this week. So starting off at number 10, it is the Blu-ray of Uncharted. Great movie, well worth checking out. 2022 release. On number 9, as mentioned on Movie Variant Showdown, the DVD release of Top Gun, the 30th anniversary is at number 9, it's a DVD. And number 8 is the DVD of No Time to Die, the more recent James Bond movie. Number 7 is the DVD of Downton Abbey, A New Era. And number 6 is the Blu-ray of Spider-Man No Way Home. And number 5, it's the DVD of Uncharted. Number 4, it is Disney's Encanto, the DVD. And number 3, it's the DVD of Spider-Man No Way Home. And number 2, it's Belfast, the DVD. And at number 1, it is Sing 2 on DVD. Sing 2 still holding that number 1 slot, and it's not budging for any other movie as of yet. Now let's move on to what's been on the screen, the next segment of the show. What's been on the screen? This is the part of the show where I discuss what I've been watching this past week. First of all, I'm going to discuss She-Hulk. The She-Hulk trailer dropped this week, the proper first trailer. We've seen teasers early before, but we've not seen the full look until now. See the trailer, and it's kind of been getting mixed responses online because basically, trailer dropped for this new Disney Plus TV show, and we see the look of She-Hulk, of Jennifer Walters in full She-Hulk look for the first time. And I got to say, the CGI does look a bit. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look like a 10 out of 10 CGI from Marvel. What I will say with this, I've read all the stuff online. People saying it looks bad. I'm kind of with these sort of things. You see trailers sometimes, and certain trailers don't really sell a movie to you, and they don't really do it justice. I'm kind of going still in with this with an open-minded attitude, and thinking sometimes trailers can't. You see certain parts in trailers, and you don't see the full look of what we're going to see here, and it could potentially stuff may be improved before the actual series drops. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. I think the trailer overall, forgetting the CGI, I don't think it was the best trailer in the world. I think it was it didn't for me stand out as a series that I necessarily would want to watch. It didn't look, I couldn't really understand the tone of what I'm seeing. It kind of looked like a law show, but then it's like this, like she's just like dating people, and then it's like, I didn't know, then she's like an Avenger. I'm like, what is the show? It kind of like seeing a bit of a mismatch. It's kind of like going too much for comedy, and then I'm like, is it just pure comedy, or I don't really know what the vibe of this show. That would be even more over the CGI. That would be my negative of what this trailer offered us. But yeah, I think the CGI. I don't think it's going to be. Like, I think give it a chance. Give it a chance. Maybe we will watch it and we'll think, what, this is bad. This is bad CGI for Marvel. Marvel should be doing a better job. Maybe we'll watch it and we'll think, no, it wasn't that bad. I thought initially, I was wondering whether they would do like full CGI for the character, or whether they would do kind of like makeup. Like, John, you've got like Nebula and Gamora in the Guardians of the Galaxy. I was thinking maybe they might go for like a makeup sort of effect more for the character. Maybe we might see some of that in the show, but because the first teaser trailer, you couldn't really tell whether it was like CGI or it was like just like green makeup. I thought they might have done like the whole like Lou Ferrigno route and done a bit more makeup and maybe used body doubles to make her look bigger on certain scenes and stuff like that. I think that would have maybe been interesting to see on screen. Whether that would have worked, maybe they tried that and maybe they thought it didn't look as good and they felt like they needed to do the CGI route. But yeah, I'm kind of like just thinking at the moment I'm not like kind of indifferent over it. I think for me, I'm definitely going to watch the show. I'm not going to not watch it. I like the Marvel shows. I've enjoyed them so far. Don't get me wrong, some of them have been better than others. I think WandaVision was not the best one, but I think they've got better and they've improved. And I think it's good to see different shows as well. And like I said, this might be a show where it is a variety. It could be comedy, action. It might be something totally different to what we all expect it's going to be. Who knows? But I think don't be put off by the show by one trailer. That's all I'm saying. Don't be put off by seeing this and thinking the CGI looks bad. I'm not going to watch the show. I think going in with, open-mindedness and thinking, you know what, I'm just going to give it a chance, this show. Definitely. What else would I say? Yeah, so I watched a movie this week as well. This will be last part of what's been on the screen. But I watched Good Time, starring Robert Pattinson this week. We'd all know from the more recent The Batman movie. And basically, it's a story of two brothers who are like robbing banks, basically. And Robert Pattinson plays one brother, and I think it's the director of the movie plays the other brother. And the other brother, it's explaining the story that he has a mental disability, and his character, Robert Pattinson's character, his brother Connie is not treating him the way he should be treating him better, and shouldn't be putting him through the things that he's putting him through. He's putting him through bank robberies, and he's kind of like feels like at times he's taking advantage of his brother, but he does actually love his brother. It's a really weird relationship, but it's a really decent story. So it starts off with robbing banks, and then one of the brothers, Robert Pattinson's brother, gets put in jail for crimes, and then he's got to try and get his brother out of prison. And you see then Robert Pattinson going on all these like mad adventures to try and make money, and it goes into like this weird zone of this story. Just goes from a point where you just don't think it's going, and it just goes to like a completely weird story where you're like, this is bizarre, like the plot of this and who thought this story up. I enjoyed it. I will say it kind of felt like it ended a bit too early. I felt like there could have been a bit more story in there. It was about a 2-hour movie though, but I felt like I could have easily watched another 30 minutes and to see a bit more of the story, more of this story. But I feel like it was a decent movie, and I've heard a lot about Good Time. It was a 2017 release, heard a lot about it, and it is a really good movie. And I've heard people say about The Lighthouse and Good Time as being the movies that really got him the gig as the Batman. And I can understand that. I think more so watching Good Time rather than Lighthouse. I watched The Lighthouse for the first time this week, and I'm going to discuss that on an upcoming blog post. But basically, you can see why he got that gig as the Batman, because he is a really good actor, and I think he has done a lot, and he's improved a lot from them Twilight movies. And this one is a really great movie to watch. Well, not a great movie, I'd say a decent movie, a decent watch. It's not the best movie of all time, but it's well worth watching. And I think if you're into like crime dramas, this is one up your street for sure. So that is Good Time, starring Robert Pattinson. But anyway, that's what's been on the screen this past week. And that is the end of today's show. If you enjoyed today's show, please do give it a like and check out the rest of the movie-related content on the YouTube channel. And if you're listening to this on the podcast app of your choice, please do leave a review on the podcast app, subscribe to the podcast, and all your support is much appreciated. All podcast reviews, once they come in, they will be read out on the show. All 5-star reviews, ladies and gents. All your positivity, all your feedback, all your comments help the community and the channel and the podcast to grow even further, and I appreciate your support as always. But let me know your thoughts on today's topic anyway, the best movies of 2002. What are some of your favourite movies of 2002? What are some of your favourite picks? What did you think of my 4 movies that I picked out today? Let me know your thoughts, ladies and gents. Let me know your thoughts on all of today's movie-related topics as well. Like I said, this is a community, and I like to hear your community input in the comments. It's always awesome to see. But today has been a really fun show to do, and I've really enjoyed discussing the movies and headline topic of today's show. But thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents. Remember to spread a bit of movie cheer, and as always, I will see you next time.